You know, I don't know until I engage.
Wrong, accepting the things that make you different and accepting the things that you get incorrect can really enrich you. So I suppose what I'm trying to say is we are all normally abnormal. If you come and see the show, it's in Edinburgh, we're doing the Brighton Fringe as well. If you've enjoyed it, I'm on Twitter at Dave Shawner. If you've enjoyed it, you go to my website. If you haven't enjoyed it, keep it fucking stum. But all I was is thank you so much for coming out. Thank you guys for letting me be a part of this. You've been absolutely lovely, guys. So thank you very much. Have a great rest of the day. I'm going to be around. Thank you very much and goodbye. Thank you. I never had a shtick, a thing. I never had a kind of a label, and anorexia was my label. That was who I was. I'd come to accept it, and I was kind of in a perverse way. I was proud of that. And the one thing that got me happened last year, and it was through an incredible charity called Beat. I fucking love Beat. I am so lucky to represent them, and they're amazing. They're the UK's largest eating disorder charity, Beat, and we did a gig at the Comedy Store last year. But I recently, this is well exciting as well, this is shameless promotion, but as well as next year's show, next month's copy of Cosmo, I've just written an article, which is wonderful, again, fucking ego, isn't it? But I wrote it on the topic manorexia, right? Fucking hate that phrase, manorexia. It's such a shit word, manorexia. Sounds like the world's shittest superhero, right? They've got like manorexia, bulimia boy. Taking the world one calorie at a time. Yeah. So I know it's our evil nemesis. It's carbohydrate. Yeah. Got their sidekick, lack of iron, man. Doesn't do anything. He's faint. You know? In comes Captain Anemia. In London. Now I'd always said when I got into comedy, if I was hosting a night at the Comedy Store in London, I'd made it. Now I got a call from my agent that day when we were making it and said that they'd had a dropout on Mock the Week. Could I fill in? And also, again, I'm trying to be more honest, I would fucking love to say to you, I've done Mock the Week. I didn't. I'm not really bothered about going on Teddy, right? You know, I'm not really, you know, fame or blow, I'm not really bothered. Like, the camera adds £10, you can fuck off. I'd be really shit on TV show, like come dine with me, there's just like 4 guests and 4 empty plays. So you have to understand, I've done my dream gig. I'd just done the Comedy Store, the gig that I'd always wanted to do. And I was so excited. And the next day I had Mock the Week, and I stepped off stage, and the audience were amazing, and me being a big dick, I just like, thank you so much. And then I went backstage and just, and I felt nothing. I didn't feel elated, I didn't feel scared, I didn't feel happy, I felt nothing. Genuinely nothing. Like a bag with everything squeezed out of it. Like a fruit that had been stamped on. I just felt fucking nothing. And I can't explain to you what that's like. I wish I had the power of oratory, but I don't. And that was when I sought help. And that's not a Hollywood moment. That doesn't fit a narrative. These are not the stories that films and TV tell you. Normally I'd have to be on the edge of a building, but I wasn't on the edge of the building. I wasn't at a breaking point. I just sat. I just couldn't bear with it. And through the process of this year, I'm writing this show called Normally Abnormal. And the idea is we've all got our own shit. That's normal. But it doesn't make you abnormal, right? Look to celebrities. I find that really weird. We always look to celebrities, and the only people that I'd heard that had suffered with eating disorders were in movies or on TV. Like EastEnders or Coronation Street did a storyline where someone had anorexia, and just genuinely the plot just went along the lines of, "So, do you want some Monster Munch?" No. That was it, right? And I couldn't relate to these people. These weren't, you know, these weren't me. Because I'd like to think that I'm quite down to earth, right? In particular, Mrs. Doubtfire. I fucking love Mrs. Doubtfire. I love that. I can quote it back to back. Like Robin Williams was dressing up to get his kids back long before Fathers for Justice, right? There was a point during Edinburgh, I wasn't doing great. It was the 12th of August, and I was sitting in a bar, and I looked at the telly, and someone started crowding around, and everyone started crowding around this telly, and it turns out that Robin Williams had taken his own life. And subsequently, that is the correct term. You're not meant to say commit suicide, because it used to be a crime to take your own life in this country. It's honestly true. Attempted suicide used to be seen as attempted murder, right? Do you know what the penalty was? It was death by hanging, right? How ironic is that? So someone tries to take their own lives, they fail, and you go, come on, let's show you how it's done, right? It's like the equivalent. It's like the jurisdiction of what's the word? Legal, fuck it. It's the legal equivalent of taking a shit in someone's mouth and then telling them their breath smells, right? I wanted to say that there was a dawning moment, but like in the same way that there was no moment that I slipped into it, there was no moment really, no kind of real point. And I've started to think about this a hell of a lot and realise what the kind of causes were for me to understand that I had a problem. Because it carried on with me when I went to university, right? So I went to university. I wasn't lucky enough to go in, not intelligent enough. I went to I studied philosophy, right? It's a great course, but it's fuck all use, right? No company has ever had a recruitment meeting and go, well, we've got an accountant, we've got a lawyer, have we got a philosopher? What? No. Let's plug that gap, right? When I started that course, they said by the end of this, you'll be dealing with all of the big issues, right? I didn't realise they meant the magazine, right? I went to the University of Southampton purely because the motto of the department was "Philosophers do it deep." They don't. And the show is kind of it's all about life, right? Lock the doors, right? Because I guess, I know you're probably thinking, what does this prick think that he knows about life? And the answer is nothing, right? So it's a really short show. Because I guess it kind of comes off the back of last year. I thought I knew everything. Last year I thought I had all of the answers, and I realised that I didn't. And that's what this is kind of all about. The name of the show is Normally Abnormal. So last year I did a show all about how I have anorexia. So for the past 9 years, I've been battling anorexia. Everyone needs a hobby, and that was what it was all about. Just take a moment to get in that fucking awkwardness. Because before I kick off, I know this is a mental health conference. I'm not going to take the piss. I really don't mean to offend anyone, and I really hope that anything I say is not triggering or offensive. I never want to do that. But then at the same time, I don't want people to treat me differently because I am anorexic, right? I mean, you can see me, I'm very much aware I'm not butch or tough, right? I don't even have a strong bladder, right? It's like if you saw me in the street, you're not going to think, what, there's an alpha male. Much more likely to think, oh, vegetarian. You'd be right. Because I've been veggie for a while now, and there are certain things that I miss, like respect. And I didn't realise this. When I was veggie, I didn't realise how much shit you get for being veggie. Especially off blokes who's like, oh, guy, if you're not veggie, you're gay. It's like, well, no, because I don't use sausage, right? Because, as I say, I don't want it to come across as offensive, but I love the unique ability that comedy has to reach people, and I wanted to use that. We didn't always get it right. One of the first reviews of the show said that bit that I did on bulimia was too gag heavy. Right. So I said in a show about domestic violence, punchlines, right? It was so bizarre, and I think that you can make anything funny, even Tim Vine. And I really wanted to use that, and I wanted to kind of reach out, because I think also we have real stereo archetypes of body image and stuff. People are happily joking about being too fat, like Johnny Vegas, Ricky Gervais. They've all made a career about being too fat. But thin people and the nourished people are seen as the panto villain, untrustworthy and kind of and we generally trust fat people, not around food, obviously. So I didn't realise you can joke about being too fat. You can't joke about being too skinny, and it was weird. It was a weird show to do, and in the show I kind of outlined how I'd all slipped into it, but I didn't realise that a lot of what I was saying was not true, was not authentic, and I'm trying to be more honest this year. So in the show, I always said that it started at 17. Being honest, I'm guessing, I don't know if anyone has got it, but for me, I think that's quite damaging to say it started. Because especially with mental health, it's not something you wake up one day and it's begun. And I kind of slipped into it, and I suppose my nearest trigger point at the time was when I was 17 and I just got the lead role in a play, right? And it was a play called Sparkle Shark. Right? I'm not even gay, right? I'm as surprised as you, right? So's my boyfriend. But, and there's nothing wrong with being gay, right? You know, some of my best friends enjoy musicals. But that's also another thing as well. There's a kind of idea that like if you're camp, you're gay. If you're gay, you're camp. And I think that's ridiculous. I'm quite a liberal person. Like the only thing I can't tolerate is gluten, right? But anyway, that's a different show. But anyway, so yeah, I got the lead role in this play, and it made me think about my body for the first time, and I wanted to lose a bit of weight. So it just started off normally. I just cut out snacking, just had breakfast, dinner and tea, lost a bit of weight, want to lose a little bit more. So I cut out breakfast and just had dinner and tea, lost a bit of weight, wanted to lose a bit more, cut out breakfast and dinner, and just had tea. You know, and you can see where this is going, right? It's hardly Cluedo, right? It is subsequently a great way to save money on food bills, right? Because what people don't tell you is when you start skipping meals, what you're losing weight, you're also losing nectar points. For the first time in my life, I got noticed by this one incredible girl. Like, she was beautiful, she was amazing, she was incredible. She was like the perfect 10. She had massive feet. It's such a shit joke. Anyway, but she was this amazing girl, and for legal reasons, I'm not going to name her or get within 50 foot of her now. But all you need to know is that she was amazing. We started dating and I fell in love, and she became my heroine. By which I mean she was addictive, exciting and fucking expensive. But like heroin, she also became a cause for me to lose weight, something to obsess about, something to lose more weight. And not that she ever made me, right? She never wanted me to lose weight. She hated that I was skinnier than her. I'll never forget one conversation went along the lines of, does my butt look big in this? No, Dave. Know for this, right? But you have to understand that in my mind, I correlated getting skinny with getting this incredible girl. So in my mind, I correlated losing weight with success, losing weight with being good looking. And I now know that's mental, right? No girl has ever been asked, what do you look for in the ideal bloke? Oh, rickets! But in my mind, that made sense. So inevitably, when we broke up and she broke my heart, I thought that's because I was too fat. And that was when it began to spiral out of control. So one of the things I want to show is anorexia is not to do with vanity. It's not to do with, it's not even to do with weight loss, to be honest. It's to do with addiction, obsession and control. That's what I think. But I think it's to do with obsession, addiction and control.
So, how do you feel like you coped with the mental health stuff before you sort of turned to comedy? Or was it always there?
Yeah, like, well, I suppose I dealt with. I mean, the thing that gets me is everyone has mental health.
Yeah.
Everyone has mental health. But I kind of, I never really thought about it like that. And it started to take over. I didn't cope with it. This is what I'm trying to say. The show, I guess, is that I didn't really deal with it that well, and it just kind of, it eventually took over, and I was waiting for a breaking point. I was waiting for something to change, and at that point, it was not too late, but you know,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, you would.
Especially with eating disorders, like you've got to be a certain weight before you're admitted, and like girls have got to miss so many like menstrual cycles. Yeah. And they just wait for too long, and it's like, how are you going to make them better now?
It's like stuff like the NICE guidelines, like, you know, you've got to get your BMI has to. Again, that was a massive trigger for me. I really want to change the NICE guidelines. purely because like I was, you know, I was weighing myself a lot, and I'm weighing myself and I'm like, no, I'm not there yet. And it's like, nobody, in no other remit does anyone tell you not ill enough. You know, if I was pissing blood, I probably wouldn't look at it and go, oh, I'm going to wait until that's a steady stream before I... It's ridiculous! But then I never thought of it like that, so I suppose I didn't deal with it, and I kind of just buried it under the carpet.
And what made you sort of... How did you get the strength to like put it into comedy and to tell people?
I think for me, I've always kind of I've always used humour I guess as a defence mechanism. Which again was really hard with the show because like, when I started writing the show, because I relapsed. Oh God, I meant to say that because I relapsed whilst on tour, and that was because I didn't feel anorexic enough. At the start of it, it was joking around. I wasn't being honest. I wasn't being open. It's so fucking difficult now to try and stand in front of people and tell the truth. Like I've always tried to tell the truth, but like I added bits to the narrative to make it fit, but to actually bam. So I guess how it began was when I acknowledged that I had anorexia. And that happened over time, but I always just used to say, yeah, like, you know, because people get really cringy, I always used to say, hey, everyone needs a hobby. And that always kind of got a laugh and really has, not only to reach people, but to subvert and to change your point of view. And I thought if I can do that with eating disorders, with mental health, with more taboo topics, then I would be very happy. Yeah. So I think everyone's got to play to their strengths, and I'm very lucky that I have no dignity to lose. So I am very open talking about it, and I want to because I'm lucky in that respect.
Have you always been quite funny?
Well, bless you, I still say no. I guess it's like I was always a shit of a kid. I was always like showing off. I was never that funny. I guess I've just always been cripplingly insecure, which is great for a job where you're just like, love me. That's all it is. That is all it is. But yeah, I suppose I've always kind of used jokes and stuff to hide what I really feel. And now I'm going through therapy. It's really fucking hard to. Sorry, I should stop effing the Jeff. It's really hard to start to actually be serious and say, no, I don't like that, but you can't walk about with that.
So do you think it's been like detrimental to you to have been making jokes about that?
It's a great question. I would like to say it has been useful. Like Robin Williams, he has this beautiful quote that says, comedy is a cathartic way to deal with personal trauma. The show has taught me so much about eating disorders. It showed me so much about mental health and showed me so much about myself. Yes, I think the relapse did come because I never felt anorexic enough. I felt that it made my identity. I felt that that's who I was. But I think it's generally more positive. There are negative aspects to it, but I was saying I'm in a lovely place now where, because I'm starting to be open about, rather than putting it in the past and saying I was anorexic, which I was doing, I was like, oh, I was anorexic. But now I'm starting to say I have it, I battle with it on a daily basis. Everyone has their own stuff. I'm in a really lucky position now that because I can be so open about therapy, if certain things happen, like, you know, my housemate won't see me eat for a couple of days, or, you know, people will find the laxatives. I'm in a really lucky position that I've got a safety net now. So for me, I've just seen the ability that it can have to change people. And at first that was terrifying. I'll never forget. First year in Edinburgh, 6 days into the show, I did it, and as I say, it was less serious then. And after the show, a girl came up to me and she said, can we have a chat? We had a chat. She broke down in tears, and it turns out she'd been anorexic for 3 years, and 2 weeks before that she tried to kill herself. She'd taken an overdose and just been released and came straight up to the Fringe, and she was like crying. And she like hugged me and she said, now that I have told you, I can tell someone else. Now I can tell a therapist. And I was like, whoa, and that's kind of, and for me, it just has such worth and value. And also doing this show, it's not about me. That's really good for me to remember. That's also really good for me generally. It's not about me. It's not about trying to feed my ego. It's not about trying to make me a star. I'm not really wanting to be a celebrity. I'd be the worst celebrity ever. I genuinely want to help people because I only had a slice of depression, but I can't imagine people that function. Bleak years. Truth of it is 1 in 5 anorexics either tries to or is successful at taking their own lives. It's the highest mortality rate of any mental health disorder. That's why you hear so much about that. I completely agree. Lead with the positive. I mean, geez, there's enough bleak news around. Definitely lead with the positive.
I mean, even like my blog and stuff recently, and I've been in I was in the Evening Chronicle and then the Daily Mail and then BBC Midlands Radio. Take a break just for the story, but they all seem to like focus on how poorly I was. When I want it to be like about my blog and what a success it is and all the opportunities I get. And it's so hard because it's like, I understand that like that's the bit people are interested in and stuff, and that's sort of what they need to play on like media perspective, but I mean it gets my blog mentioned at the end of the day.
I absolutely agree. This is what I'm trying to, this is the bit that I'm trying to work on, well, one of the many reasons I'm trying to work on in the show, that, everyone in the news or in press and TV, there's always this, I had my crunch moment, and that's not, that's not realistic. Everyone wants these horrible, like, how ill were you, what did you do, did you really want it to end? And for me, that's not the important bit, that's the bit that, like, okay, that was pretty rubbish, but what's important is look at what happens afterwards.
Exactly.
I completely agree.
And they put like quotes on the headline like saying why life is so precious, and I thought I would never say that. I would never call life precious.
Oh, that's great.
And saying what did they say? My struggles helping others out of the darkness. And I was like, no, if anyone knows me, they'd be like, what the fuck? Why did you say that? But it's not. I wouldn't say anything like that.
Really saccharine, sweet.
And they had a photographer come out and it was just so corny. He was like, can we take pictures in your kitchen? We went in the kitchen, he was like, can you just hold this cup like this? And I was like, it's empty. And he was like, yeah, but just hold it. And I was like, and then he like took me outside and I had this coat on with like this fur around the hood, and he was like, can you just pull it up like this? And it was so cringy when he used it in the article.
I need to see this now.
My friends were like, Amy, what are you doing? And I was just like, I got paid to do it. I couldn't. But I think now I've had that, I'd be like a bit more wary in future and make sure that it is more the way I want it. And I've done that with Take a Break. I've like stood up and said to them, no, I don't like this.
Oh, fair play. But like, I don't understand why people, no wonder there is a stigma around mental health, because why do people always want, you would never do that with anything else, never make it that horribly cringe. But I don't understand why it is with mental health. There's always a moment, like, dark is used so much, like, yeah, I saw my way out of the tunnel. And you're like, I'd never say that. I don't want to come across as a prick. Like,
There's a light at the end of the tunnel. Keep going, people. Keep going.
Love that. That's why I love really do like cynical things, like, there's like so many things like, the light at the end of the tunnel, probably a train and stuff like that, and I love those kind of, because for me they're more realistic. I don't think that something that's stamped on a fridge magnet or a pencil is probably going to be... That's not a good way to live your life. Like, I just need this fridge magnet to tell me. One of the worst ones I ever saw was people... It was like a picture of a beach and like there was 2 footprints, and it said, some people walk in and out of our lives and the tide washes over us, but only friends leave footprints on our hearts. And I was like, oh, at what point in time was that human? Like, it's just, it gets me so much.
Footprints on our, what does that even mean?
I know!
Footprints on our heart.
And it's like, is it your head or your heart? Well, both of them are just muscles, right? The heart, like people say, like, I just got to go to my heart. It's like, all it is a pump. So I don't understand when like, would you, like, are you inflating things with that? Like, you're just an idiot. Like, I don't like the head-heart thing. Ridiculous.
If you had a footprint on your heart, you'd be in hospital, really.
Because someone stamped on your chest.
Walk around. Saying thank you, you're such a good friend.
Just kicking me down.
For me and I really love you. You'll have to footprint of my heart.
That's great, it's like football boots. So that's brilliant. That's really good.
Right, so darkest and best moments.
Darkest and best moments, really good question. I would say, my darkest moments. There was a moment where I just couldn't see the light. I really want to use so many of these cringy things. The kind of, I guess the dark moment was when I was at the Comedy Store. I was in the dressing room. It's the gig that I've always wanted to do. I kind of mentioned this in the show. It's the gig I've always wanted to do. I was doing What the Week the next day. Everything was going perfectly, but I just felt nothing. And that doesn't make a good story. Like you'd never see that on Disney, like some bloke just looking in the mirror going, and that's also another thing, if it was a film I'd be staring in the mirror, there'd be some dramatic music and there'd be like softer light and everything, but it didn't happen like that. Life is not like a film, and I just looked and I was like, this is pretty shit, innit? Like I felt awful. I can't really say this, well I didn't say this in the show, but I became drink dependent, I started abusing substances, I was smoking and stuff. And there was no crunch for me, but that would be my darkest kind of area. Like last year was pretty rubbish. My lightest moments, again, it's going to go against everything I said, but about 6 or 7 Thursdays ago, I came out of therapy. Cause I don't know, I'm still going through therapy. So yeah. I came out of therapy. It was sunny. The therapy had been kick-ass. I don't know why. Like I get an hour a week to talk about myself. What more could you want? Like I am that self-absorbed. And I just came out of therapy. I'd started to feel like myself again. I'd started to have fun. I felt elated, but I didn't feel scared that I was going to crash. And I want to be that guy that like everyone was having a laugh, playing a bit of pool down the pub, and then oh, here's Dave, and I'm like, oh, like some Eeyore figure, like, hey guys, like I just feel real. I never wanted to be that guy. Yeah. So to try and counteract that, I put on this like, hey, how are we doing? And it's like really kind of, so I'm trying to be more authentic with people, trying to slow down, and just be more honest. I think something that I heard in a therapy session, like I was giving a talk, something that's really nice is instead of asking how someone is, ask, and you might find this really cringy, I think I bloody love these sort of things, but ask what sort of colour they are. And I think you can have a lot of fun with that. So you're kind of, I'm trying to be more emotionally aware as well, and it's a really nice thing to think, what colour am I today? Like, what colour would you be today? I know it's kind of a big question.
Like a yellowy blue.
Oh.
Because I'm happy, but I'm very tired.
Oh, really?
And like not for the camera or anything, but I'm in urine retention as well.
Okay. Yeah, probably didn't put that out. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm feeling
just a bit. You see what I mean? Like that's a great, when you start to say, what colour am I feeling? It really makes you analyse, but not in a like.
I think professionals would worry though if I was like, I'm yellowy blue today. Can you help?
Do you reckon? Well, yeah. Like, what? Isn't yellow and blue? Isn't that green as well?
No, it would be. I'm not mixing them.
No, okay. Oh, wow. Dark moment a couple of weeks ago when, yeah, I don't know why, depression just came back on like that, and I was sitting in bed. I felt so intimidated by the world, and I was the biggest fraud, I was the biggest failure. I'd let everybody down. Tiny little things became a huge worry, and I was sinking below the sheets. And that was terrifying. That was really terrifying because I felt in that moment, I'm going to feel like this for the rest of my life. I've got to start to realise that I'm not always going to feel, you know, stable. And that's okay, as long as A, I get a bit of perspective on it, and B, if I do feel like that I can reach out or I can sit with it. So
that's just like leave it at that.
I do kind of sympathise with that. As like, do you ever have, like, if you're in a conversation with someone, they stop talking, you're like, what do I say now? And you always ask the weirdest questions, like, where do you, like, something like that. So that's probably what therapists get all the time, like, how does that make you, but like, just kind of like, where am I going with this? That's amazing.
I think sometimes as well, I'll maybe like play on the mental health stuff, like make light of it. If I say something stupid like that, and I'm like, well, I'm on antipsychotics, it's fine, it doesn't matter.
So you've got like a get out of jail free.
Yeah, I went to the GP once and he was really good looking and he had a pink stethoscope and I was like, do you know that men who wear pink are comfortable with their sexuality? And he was like, oh, I borrowed it. And I was like, oh, so you could still be gay then?
That's a, wow!
And it was like silence and I was like, I'm going to go back to hospital now.
I'm so jealous of that you can just have that kind of. Did it not work out then? Did he not kind of? No.
No.
Oh, that's annoying.
You give me a lot of painkillers, so
that's alright.
Yeah.
That's nice then. Yeah, I think that'll be alright, getting a lot of painkillers. I'm terrified of. Funny enough, I can't remember we were talking this the other day, and people were saying how good painkillers are, and I was like, I couldn't, don't get me addicted to painkillers, but yeah, it's so bizarre. So yeah, I always find that quite interesting as well when you're talking about, I don't know if you find this, but when you talk to people with mental health and you tell them what medication you're on, it kind of becomes a sort of top trumps of,
yeah.
Kind of say, oh, I'm on citalopram. I'm on citalopram. What meg are you? I'm on 20 meg. I'm on 30. No one's winning here, guys. You want Skittles.
I had that with a friend once, and I was like, oh, I just got increased by 50 milligrams, so I'm above you now. And then another one would be like, well, I had to sign a form to say that I'd go beyond the recommended high dose.
That's brilliant.
What am I doing? And it makes me look back and think, why wasn't I more grateful for being in glass eyes?
Wow.
But I'm slowly getting my confidence with it, and sort of just developing how I dress to compliment my figure.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you find appearance issues and stuff with yours?
It's a really good point. Yeah, I do have body dysmorphic kind of tendencies. So what I mean by that, yeah, in my mind, I am still well overweight.
Yeah.
In my mind, and I hate saying that because it's one of those things where it just essentially feed my ego. So that people go, you don't look overweight, and I'm like, oh my god, I love you. But yeah,
so skinny.
Oh, well, thank you. You're my favourite person. But I still I kind of in my hotel there's a I don't know why there's a mirror opposite the bed, and I was sitting there on pants, lovely visual, and I was like. Don't do that, don't fucking do it. Because I used to pinch my stomach, and I couldn't stop myself kind of doing it. So I'd be on a train, I'd be scrunching my stomach, and people would be like, what is he doing? Why? I couldn't stop myself. So yeah, massive body dysmorphic kind of tendencies. So it's always my stomach, that's a big one, that I still feel hugely overweight. And that's why, if ever I buy jeans, it's just certain places, I realise I know that some places have different sizes, but if I go to one place, and I'm not going to say any figures, but I can get into one pair of jeans in the same size, I can't get into another, I'm like, ah! It's the worst feeling in the world. But then that's a competitive aspect.
Have all your friends and family been supportive, or have you had any?
My friends and family have been wonderfully supportive. God knows I've put them through so much. They've been incredible. It's been awesome. The people at the shows have been incredible. I've only had one bad experience, but I think the thing that's really nice is that I realise that I'm learning as my family learn as well.
Yeah.
So I got my diagnosis that I was severely clinically anorexic just before Christmas. Not a great time for it. Because eating, the season of excess, and I was like, well, this has worked out lovely. But it was really weird to learn with Mum and Dad, because I was like, Mum, I don't want to binge. And she was like, okay, well, let's work on this together. I still do want to put treats out and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, please do, because I don't want to feel like a freak. Christmas hasn't stopped. So it was just little things like, if I put a lid on them, would that make you more comfortable? And I was like, you know what, that's a really cool idea. And they always used to buy me, instead of buying me chocolate, buy me dried fruit. And then instead of buying me big bags, buy me small bags, so that if I binge on it, it's only 100 grams, it's not a kilo. So they've been so supportive by learning with me, and that's been amazing.
What would be your advice for those people out there who are feeling like there is something wrong?
Anyone that feels that there is anything wrong, go get it checked out. Especially
blood in your urine.
Especially blood in your urine, yeah. Do that. Go now.
Footprints on your heart.
yeah. Pause. Don't wait. So many footprints on your heart. But yeah, I would say people go get it checked out now. Early intervention. Coming from one who has been there, done that. I wish it had gone sooner. Wish it had gone sooner. So go get it checked out. One, I refuse to talk about the stigma because I think we talk about stigma so much. Like, let's get rid of the stigma. And sometimes, like, you know, I do kind of worry that if people don't think that there is a stigma, because we talk about stigma so much, people are like, is there a stigma? I didn't realise, okay, there is a stigma. So I'd just be saying, like, you know, just talk about it very openly. And bear in mind as well, my one biggest thing, you would not be embarrassed to say to someone, I've just stubbed my foot, like, is my toe broken? Why would we treat mental health differently? So don't be like, just be open and just say, like, it's just another part of your body. The brain, I'm no medical student, but it's pretty important. I think, I'm going out on a limit, pretty important. You wouldn't be, you know, like if your heart was like beating differently, you go and get that organ checked out, get your brain checked out, it's just an organ.
Great. Good advice.
Thank you.
For chatting with me.
That's been lovely. Really nice.
We'll put the link to his Twitter in the comment
Please.
box, so go follow.
Thank you.
He's
Please
very
do.
funny.
I'll give you a hug.
I'm very skinny.
Well, yeah, camera so it's so good. Thank you, Rosie. That was so much fun.
Hey guys, just to quickly let you know, I got quite poorly at the event, and I had to go into hospital, so I missed the 2 afternoon sessions I was wanting to go to. Feeling a bit better now, just got a load of painkillers to take and stuff. I'm nearly home, just gonna have some tea with my mum and watch Britain's Got Talent, so that'd be nice, and I can have my lie in as well and be lazy tomorrow, so hopefully I'll feel a bit better. But yeah, so I'm sorry people for like the lack of footage from the event, but I hope you enjoy what I have managed to get, and I'll see you guys soon.